Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Noodle film review. Tonight we've got a very bizarre 80s classic gore fest. And we're looking at Peter Jackson's Braindead. Now, Peter Jackson, as you well know, went on to make the Lord of the Rings movies and things like that. But before that, he was, when he was a student filmmaker, he made a couple of sort of horror and sci-fi movies, Braindead and Bad Taste. And this is Braindead, which is a very bizarre story, but very tongue-in-cheek at the same time. And it's about this rat monkey, okay, which is from this one island. It only lives on one island, and there's a guy that's gone off from the zoo to capture it, and they've caught one in a basket, and they're trying to get away from the island, and they get stopped by a bunch of natives, and they get chased away by this natives, and they manage to get away, but the guy gets bitten by this monkey, and apparently the monkey carries some sort of curse that turns people into these like horrendous, hideous sort of creatures. And anyone else that's attacked by him also turns into this kind of bizarre, grotesque animals. Anyway, so he's been bit on the hand, so the other guys that are with him cut off his hand, and then they see a scratch on his other hand, so they cut off his other arm, and then they see a scratch on his head, so they cut off his head. So it's kind of like that. It's a very wacky sort of film with a very dark sort of sense of humour. And the monkey, they still got the monkey, and the monkey is sent off in an aeroplane. They send it off to New Zealand, to a zoo in New Zealand. That's where it is headed to. And once we're in New Zealand, we meet our hero Leonard, and he's our hero of the film. And he's a bit of a Norman Bates kind of character. Lives with his mum, and there's a girl that works at a local sort of grocery store, and she's speaking to her mother, who seems to be some sort of tarot card reader, or it could be grandmother, whoever it is. And she reads the card saying, "Oh, you're going to meet someone and fall in love, have romance, and it will last forever, and it'll be by the sign of a stars and the moon." Anyway, Leonard goes into the shop to put his order in for his mum, and he knocks over like a jar of sweets or whatever it is, and it sort of forms into the shape of a moon and a star. So she thinks this is it. Anyway, Leonard sort of makes his way back home, and we meet his mum, who's quite a strict, bossy cow's the word I'm looking for, and she's very protective over. Sorry, it's quite late. She's very protective over Leonard, and she bosses him around, and he's almost like a servant, more than a son. Anyway, she's getting him to do all these chores because she's expecting some visitors arriving at the house the next day, some very important visitors to her. So he has to do all these chores, like cut the grass in the garden. And while he's doing it, the girl from the groceries turns up with the order. And then they start talking about, because she's brought a dog with her, and they start talking about animals. And he says, "Oh, if this dog was any bigger, it needs to be in the zoo." And she goes, "Oh, zoo, I want to go to the zoo." And he goes, "Oh, the zoo." And she says, "Yes, please." So he ends up sort of mistakenly putting himself on a date with this girl, which is not, he doesn't seem too displeased by it. Anyway, they go to the zoo the next day, and they have a great time, well, seemingly. Anyway, they see all the sort of animals there, the lions and stuff like that, and the monkeys, and they start kissing and all this sort of thing. And romance seems to be on the air. But we see this rat monkey attacks another monkey in the cage next to it and rips its arm off and starts eating it, which really grosses out Leonard and his girlfriend. Then the zookeeper comes and tells them the story of this rat monkey, where apparently all the rats on the island raped all these tree monkeys on this island, and that's where the rat monkeys come from. and there's sort of like a bit of a cursed sort of monkey. Anyway, they go off on about their business, and we see in the bushes that they're being spied upon by Leonard's mum. Leonard's mum was there as well, so she's there keeping an eye on them and spying on them, and she gets too close to the cage with the rat monkey, and the rat monkey starts biting into her arm, and she's sort of like getting bit a few times, but then she kills the rat monkey by standing on it. It's very gross and grotesque, and she is now been bitten by this monkey. So she wants to go home, and Leonard takes her home, leaving his girlfriend stranded at the zoo. But she turns up at the night time. So sorry, guys, it's quite late at night. I've been watching this quite late. And she turns up with his coat, and they start kissing and canoodling and stuff like this. They really like each other. And we see Leonard's mum in bed, starting to sort of have problems with her arm where she's been bitten by this monkey, and it starts shooting out pus all over like the room into the photos and stuff like this. So he sort of comes and redresses her wound, and there's a massive hole in her arm. So I must apologise for the gory clips, but this is what the film's like. Anyway, he rebandages her up, and she seems to be getting these sort of disfigurements of warts on her face. And then the people that she was trying to prepare the house for turn up. So she then sort of forces herself to get ready to go down. She rips her skin off, and a big flap of skin comes off her face. So Leonard gets some super glue and he glues it back onto her face. So they go down for dinner with these people that are supposed to meet, and she starts acting really, really weird, the mother, and starts eating all everybody's plates and speaking strangely, and her arm starts pulsating and all sorts of things. And the film then goes into an absolute gore fest. It's one of the most goriest films I think I've ever seen. It's up there with Terrifier when it comes to the gore. And this film takes some really bizarre twists and turns. It's a very strange story, but very fantasy horror, but very likeable and quite funny. I think it needs the humour in there to take it away from the gore. Otherwise it'll be just too much to watch. I remember this coming out. It was under a different title when I saw it. I can't remember that title. But yeah, I've just seen if it's got a reversible cover. This is the only release in the UK on DVD. It doesn't have a Blu-ray release, but I have heard rumours that someone's picked it up. I don't know who, but hopefully this will get a Blu-ray release in the near future. But yeah, it's great to see this again. I've not seen it for many years, and not many sort of horror films come out in New Zealand. And this is one of the great ones. So what do I think of it? It's amazing fun. It's an amazing film. Absolutely love it. I remember it coming back out in the day. I didn't see it in the cinema because I heard so many rumours about how gory it was. I thought, no, I'll wait for it to come out and I'll pick it up ex rental. And I did. I picked up ex rental of VHS. And it was great, and it was great fun. And it was really, really gory. I couldn't watch all of it back then. I can watch it all now, but back then I was still quite young, and I just thought, no, this is too much. And it is a real gore fest, and there's really strange things that happen. There's a really strange sort of monster sort of baby. It's really, really weird. It's such a weird film, but it's great fun. It's a real sit down with your mates and have a few beers sort of film, and sort of like be grossed out by it, and that's all it is. So I'm going to score the film an excellent watch and give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a 9 or a 10 out of 10 film, and it doesn't pretend to be, and it doesn't want to be. It wants to be not everyone's cup of tea, but it was mine. I really enjoyed it, and I can see a lot of people why they absolutely love it. This is an absolute cult classic. I believe this probably did hit the Video Nasty list. If it didn't, then I'll be amazed if it didn't get on the video nasty list, unless it came out after the video nasties. It could well have done. Yeah, I'm not quite sure the year this came out, but yeah, it might have just missed the video nasties. I'm not sure, but if it came out around that time, it definitely was. So there we go. Braindead. 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. It's a really cool film. I must apologise for yawning. It's the weekend off, so I'm trying so hard to catch up with a lot of movies. I've got like a watch pile like about that big of movies that I've got to get through and watch, and I want to review not all of them, but I want to review a big chunk of them for you guys, because I think these films need to be reviewed and out there. If this one doesn't get blocked, then that's great. It might do, because there's probably going to be a few gory scenes on the video, but I can't help that. But yeah, it's a great film. It's good fun. It's silly. There's nothing serious about it. It's a silly film, but a really cool film too. Guys, check out some horror channels for me before my next video. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek Manby Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I'm the Ice Lord, Sarah of Horror, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrews, Haunted House, and a massive shout out to my lad Lemon Lord. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.